Okay, so coming up we have Machi versus AHQ Esports Club. We see the Machi lineup now. Bobo in the top lane. Not really much to be said about this team. Very, very young team coming in, wanting to prove that they are a contender in the SEA region. There's the jungler, that's Fiesta. He'll have a hard time going up against Mountain this game, but we've got to assume that if he made it to this stage, he's more than willing and ready to do it.
确实哦，他们是对上主要两个 color 的位置哦。那我觉得 Fiesta 这位选手比较特别的是呢，他其实在视野上面做了蛮多的琢磨。他前期农兵可能会少一点，但是通常眼石拿出来的时间点算是比较早的哦。对，那看完了韩国打野。
And here's the guy with the most pressure, I imagine. Republic going up against Westor in the mid lane. I'll be interested to see if he can hold his own, because he's got to be looking for it. That's going to be one thing that if you manage it, you can just like brag to everyone for the rest of eternity. You can be like, yeah, oh, that's really cool. You did that. Well, I went even with Westor. Everyone's just gonna be like, ooh, step back. This kid's the real deal. Coach, last check through the notes. And D at AD carry. That's gonna be weird. D, like, no, I can't think of a single pun. Even though D is in the term AD carry, I just can't think of it. And Dreamer in the support role. This is going to be a difficult match for Machi. I'm going to have to pronounce that differently just so I never get that mixed up, aren't I? Machi? I should probably get a drink.
对，确实 ，Machi 是一支新兴队伍之姿，而且是一个大家都很有期待的一个姿态来挑战 LMS， 而且后面今天是有一个我们的黄国伦，不是我们的 Mistake 哦，担任一个战术指导的位置，所以等一下的 Ban Pick 我觉得会非常精彩。我们刚才在想说，奇怪，他今天为什么会
Are the Red Bulls only for the commercials, or can we actually drink them?
我来有一个秘密任务的，然后哦是哦，然后结果现在在里面。OK， 那看完了我们的 Machi Esports 之后呢，接下来就要来看到的是 AHQ 啦，有着丰富的
And here's the team that we know about. So, in the top lane, we have Ziv.
哦，这次上路就是传送玩得很漂亮的一位选手，他现在应该要过来跟我们，好像忘记跟我们打声招呼了。
Great player. I should really have researched these a lot more. Oh, to be fair, to my own credit, I didn't actually have that much time. Okay, I'm disclaiming right now. I'm probably gonna cut this part out of the video, but if I don't, you get to listen to me making up mad excuses. The jungler is, of course, Mountain. Anyway, I was going to research this, but like I was literally mid-research and then it started, because I didn't decide I was going to do this until like half an hour ago. And then I casted part of the last game, which was TPA versus Yaoi Flash Wolves. I need to stop calling them Yaoi Flash Wolves. There's the guy we all know, Westor in the mid lane. But yeah, I casted that, and then it turned out it didn't record properly, so it looked really janky. So, and then I was like, okay, I'll do the next game properly. Quickly searched a bunch of stuff, and then it was all useless, so I fixed it myself because I'm sick. And then I was like, right, I've got to research these guys. And then I researched a bit of Machi because I didn't know a thing about them, and I didn't find anything out about them either. And then this thing happened, and I was like, okay, I should probably shoutcast over this bit. Orcs, didn't get any research down. Anne at AD carry. Oh, what? It's a little N? I was sure it was a capital N. Oh well, you learn something new every day, I guess. That's one small step for my commentating career. It's not really a giant leap for anything. I suppose if someone told him, they'd be pretty... Yeah, you know that guy? That young British kid, shoutcasting by himself in his room. Yeah, that's, he just found out that yours name is spelt with a little N. Ooh, how interesting. Albus coming in for support after a strong showing at MSI. This team looked pretty good, defeating both Fnatic and TSM, proving that the West is terrible in comparison to the Asian Master Race.
后面则是我们的这个以往的电竞那个人，法号卑鄙的贝克教练。
对啊，我们电竞的雷兹哦，最近有重置过哦，看一下他现在是会不会让他的队友来选一下这样。
可惜他今天没有拿那本书，完蛋了，没有不是来开玩笑。贝克刚刚我在台下有跟贝克稍微聊了一下，说你们最近队伍状况怎么样？他说就普普通通就还行，然后在对上一些比较强的队伍的时候，确实打得比较吃力一点。
I promise my casting will be better once the game actually starts.
对，当他们压力大的时候就玩得很好，但是坦白说，例行赛的话，以往的经验来看来的时候，他们可能放的心力没有那么大在里面这样子。
好的，那么今天晚上的第二
Oh, and we're in to pick some bans. So, Fizz obviously going to be taken off the table straight away. You're coming up against Westor. Maokai going to be taken away as well as Cassiopeia. So that's 2 mid lane bans already. Maokai ban, he's obviously one of the stronger champions in this meta. But generally, especially in Korea, we often see Maokai getting through because of the bans being more focused towards Hecarim. But a Lulu ban, I wasn't expecting that. I assume AHQ have researched something that we haven't. Rek'Sai, still a very strong jungler. Gonna be taken away from Mountain there, and LeBlanc, the final ban. So that's 3 potential mid lane bans from AHQ. Obviously Lulu could have been taken in the top. And bans ready across the board from Machi, leaving the Twisted Fate open, and obviously we all know how much AHQ, Westor specifically, likes to play the Twisted Fate. But the Gragas pick is good, because if they do pick the Twisted Fate, Gragas is really going to be able to abuse that lack of mobility in the mid lane. Constant ganks. And there's the Hecarim that we were talking about. He gets through, that's obviously going to be taken away. Urgot as well, being left open. So pretty strong picks for both teams already. You can only assume that Machi will probably pick their mid laner soonish rather than later, because they're not going to get the counter pick anyway, being on blue side. Azir, still open. He's probably the main one that people are going to look at because of the heavy bans from AHQ onto Republic. We'll see what they come through with here. So Thresh, I didn't even pay attention to the fact that Thresh was still open. Thresh a very obvious choice for pretty much any support right now. But supports do have the pick of the litter. It's not like if you take away this Thresh, he's forced onto something bad. I mean, look, Nautilus is still open. Janna is still open if they want to go with something like that. Leona, Annie. It's going to be the Gnar takeaway. I'm not sure I agree with... I obviously can't question these people because they're much better than me. But top lane already locked in. They get the counter pick they want, but obviously Hecarim doesn't really have too many losing matchups. Probably going to be the Sejuani takeaway here, being that Gragas has already been locked in for Machi. That's another one that got through picks and bans. The exhaust hover from Westor makes me think that he wants to play Twisted Fate, and he's expecting something like a Z, maybe from Republic. But let's... Oh! Okay. So the bard has been locked in. Okay, I'm officially really excited to cast this match. I love Bard. He's just so fun to watch and to play. He's great. Oh, Callista getting through. but not gonna be... Well, yeah, okay, he is picked up. Now, who is Republic gonna go with in the mid lane? Vladimir would not be a bad option. But then they are suffering from a real lack of like upfront damage. Kalista obviously not building the same way as regular AD carries. Doesn't go for that crit. Uses more the rend to provide the damage and goes Runan's Bloodthirster, sustains through the fights and just gets a lot of stacks on like that. So, somewhat of a low damage comp, at least early. Vlad's not exactly going to be melting someone. And late game he will have quite a bit of damage though. But I don't see him providing the same damage as something like an Azir, and Cho'Gath getting locked in for Westor. I have not seen Westor play Cho'Gath, so I can only assume he's been practicing it in scrims and such. But Bard, right, that's the big thing that I want to talk about here. Albus on Bard, choosing to run Ignite, obviously because of Republic. That's 3 Ignites they're going to have for him, so they have like really sort of honed in on the fact that the damage for Machi is coming from a very high sustaining Kalista with that Bloodthirster Runan's build, and obviously Vlad very much about sustain. That's pretty much his entire game. So I like the adaptation from AHQ. Plus, Cho'Gath probably going to buy a Morello's. That's going to do even more to stop the self-healing. And an AoE silence is never a bad thing. So we'll have to see how this pans out. Machi really going to be wanting to get a win here. Like, if there's one way to show up in your first season in the LMS, it's with a win over AHQ. Quick rundown of all the teams. Machi with Bobo in the top lane, Fiesta in the jungle, Republic in mid, D at AD carry and Dreamer on support, and obviously AHQ Esports Club, Ziv in the top lane, Mountain in the jungle, Westor at mid lane and at AD carry, and Albus at support. I'm pretty excited for this. Not just because of the Bard pick. Okay, that's a lie. It is just because of the Bard pick. This Bard pick is making me so happy. We finally get into game, and it's an Elwood Bard. This game just gets so much better every single second. So, Machi grouped up here. Maybe they want to try something early. Probably just going to get some deep wards down. Looking for lane swaps, maybe. Ooh, Dreamer very close to catching Ziv with that hook, and that would have been a large amount of damage down onto him. Machi gonna invade this top side. Meanwhile, AHQ, every action has an equal and opposite reaction, invading the bot side. It's good to see AHQ really respecting Newton's second law. Getting their own deep wards down. Really good wards there. They're going to see any entrance to the jungle. So, Machi, having warded, aren't actually going to be able to see a lane swap directly, but they might be able to see where the jungler starts, and if the top lane is with him, and they're probably going to make an educated guess off that, but Mountain staying in lane, making sure that Machi get nothing off of the vision they've invested in. Ziv going to start the wolves in bot side as well, so now they see Mountain coming in, see him for a split second, and they know he's up there. So it looks like they're going to get the 2v2. Ziv gonna get into lane with the experience advantage and the level 2 from that wolf camp. And AHQ getting into lane early because their jungler started topside. That's probably not going to offset the fact that Machi's bot lane managed to start with the Krugs. Now let's see this Bard. Bard does have a really good level 1, but Urgot does not have a great level 1, so we're probably just going to see them play this off passively. And Anne actually managing to get level 2 already, having some solo XP. Now, D and Dreamer have both hit level 2, but the wave is currently a little too big for them to consider going in. So, AHQ with the bot lane advantage right now, just in terms of minions and being in control of the lane. But that's very liable to change. Both junglers level 3 now, and we might even see a gank down. Yep, looks like Fiesta wants to come in onto this AHQ bot lane. They do have a ward in river, and here comes... Yep, he's just... No, it doesn't spot him out. The flay's going to come down onto Anne. They're going to get the flash knock-up, and he's going to take the magical journey. No! I thought that was going to be the greatest escape ever. The magical journey, not enough to keep Anne alive. Flash and heal burned to try and save himself. Okay, so now Machi have the definite advantage in mid. Really great gank from Fiesta there. Surprised he didn't get spotted out by that ward earlier. But obviously, okay, that's my first like mess up. I now realise that the Sentinel was Machi's, not AHQ's, and that's why he wasn't spotted out. But I'm sure we can all ignore that. Albus, he's going to magical journey away, gets a nice stun as well. Really strong stun, that Q, when you max a 2-second stun. But the only downside being, you do have to position it perfectly. So D, backing, getting Berserker's Greaves first item. It's going to allow him to just dash around a lot and just be obnoxious in general. Increasing the dash range and increasing the amount of times you can dash. Gets stunned against the wall by Albus and takes a huge chunk of damage from Anne. And then those heat-seeking strikes, we'll call them. Although Kalista is sort of a ghost, does she even emit heat? Maybe not. But suddenly, it's looking more like it's in AHQ's favour. So this bot lane is just going back and forth. Kalista still has her bond item. I'm not sure if he just rebought one for some reason, or if he's forgotten to bind with his support. That would be incredibly awkward if it were the case. Okay, there's a pause, and I assume it's something to do with that because it's really weird. So far, Machi with a very slight gold lead. And CS is generally going towards them. It's unpaused. But they have a 10 CS lead in the mid lane. Republic so far showing that he can mess with the best. Obviously, it's only a CS lead, and he did go boots and pots. Going to allow him to dodge those ruptures a little more and just sustain from those feral screams. Fiesta spending a little time mid. Cho'Gath is obviously a very dashless, very mobilityless mid laner. He relies on innate tankiness from his passive. The first back's coming in, and Republic going straight for the Spectre's Cal, not even going to go for the Will of the Ancients first item. Wondering if he'll go straight into the Visage, or if he'll build the Woden now. And then finish up the Spirit Visage later. Meanwhile, top lane, the Giant's Belt for Gnar, that's really going to help him with his innate stats in Mega Gnar. Oh, Mountain, looking like he wants to come in bot, but Machi wise, get the hell out of dodge. Obviously the Giant's Belt for Gnar going to be very helpful because of how high Mega Gnar's base stats are. They're just going to make them even more prevalent. Whereas the Ninja Tabi coming in for Ziv's Hecarim gives him armor and attack damage. So very strong item choices. Mountain still sticking around this bot side, wondering if he wants to come back in on them once he's finished that. No, looks like he's going to position more towards the top. Westall taking away his wraiths. Shoutouts to Season 3 and Season 4 mid lane. Those wraiths were basically, oh, they're not wraiths anymore, are they? They're Razorbeaks. But those Razorbeaks, formerly wraiths, used to pretty much belong to the mid laners. Make sure to get that farm up. So, even more attack speed coming in now for D. We can only assume that's going to be turned into a Runan's Hurricane, and a Longsword probably going to go into a Vamp Scepter. So with this build, I think it's safe to assume that he's maxing E rather than Q. One of the things we've seen Korean AD carries do is they go Bloodthirster first item and max Q, and basically get a load of stacks on one minion, Q through it to try and hit their AD carry, and then rend, and that gets a lot of poke down. It really allows Kalista to just be a big lane bully, even bigger than she usually is. Currently though, they're getting pushed in pretty hard by Anne and Albus. So, other than the one gank... Oh wait, no, Albus does go down. Looks like it was just a standard gank from Fiesta. Didn't even have to blow Flash. So Flash blown from Albus and Dreamer blowing the exhaust. And Anne blowing heal, I just saw that. So even more of an advantage for Machi's bot lane now. Looks like they're going to turn onto the Drake. And with Kalista's attack speed like that, they'll have no problem bringing it down. Mountain sticking around though. But it's going to get taken away. Fiesta engages onto Mountain, who just flashes away from the hook. That surely would have been death. However, Ziv teleporting in on that Hecarim. He's a long way from his team though, but Dreamer does get knocked back. He's going to get taken down, but Ziv's getting very low. But just look at that damage from Westall. The Vladpool comes in. Ziv actually goes down to Kalista, but Westall coming up huge that fight, taking down D as well. Just the upfront burst from that Cho'Gath, especially with the true damage ultimate. That was a fight that went very wrong for Machi very quickly. Great teleport in from Ziv, manages to pick up Dreamer early on in the fight, and just stall enough for his team to back him up and just take him out. So let's see what happened here. So the fight's about to take off. I think the fight, yeah, they're fighting right now. And Westall just comes in, just absolutely blows up. Oh, okay. The bard ult very nearly catching onto him. Sorry, Westall absolutely blowing up D and Republic. Suddenly the game isn't looking as comfortable for Machi. Westall picking up those Ionian Boots of Lucidity. Gonna make him more obnoxious, more skills up to spam more, and it looks like Republic is gonna go into Will of the Ancients next. Not gonna finish his Visage yet. And now the gold swinging in AHQ's favour. CS in the top and bot lane. Better, Ziv. Gonna move on to Republic here, but it's just a bit of poke damage as he runs away, as Fiesta was there for backup. But yeah, the CS numbers in top lane and bot lane going towards AHQ. Fiesta gonna kill the Scuttle Crab. Poor Scuttle. He never wanted to hurt anyone. He never wanted to provide the incredible vision that he does. It's a curse and a blessing for him. So the Manamune already finished for Anne. Looks like he's working towards a brutalizer now. And there we see the recurve bow for D. He's going to be finishing up that rune arms pretty soon. But it's going to be a while before he's doing any real damage compared to Westor. Just look how much Feral Scream is already taking off Republic. Westor's doing some serious damage, and his Ignite is going to be up pretty soon. Obviously the silencing portion of it. I'm not sure, I'm pretty sure Kalista can't dash, use her passive dash while she's silenced. I'm not 100% sure on that. But if that's the case, then this is just such a great pick for Westor. Clearing out a ward from Dreamer there to allow Fiesta to try and snowball this bot lane a little bit more. Considering the early kills onto the Machi bot lane, they really haven't had much control of this lane. The top lane battles continue, pretty much what you'd expect from top lane. Bit of trading, bit of CSing. Teleport advantage is for Machi right now. They're choosing not to make a play with it yet, at least, but they're gonna. If they were going to, they'd have to do it soon because Ziv's teleport is going to be up within the next minute or so. Also, nothing really gained from the cooldown advantage that they had in bot. It looked to me like AHQ were pretty relentlessly pushing, and ooh, you can't get hit by those. It looked like AHQ were quite relentlessly pushing, and I believe Anne didn't have flash at some point during that, and they didn't really take advantage of that. So we're getting towards a bit of a slow period in the game, but Drake coming up in about a minute. Oh, and getting aggressed on here by Dreamer. D gonna get ulted by that hyperkinetic position reverser. A lot of damage come down. They're basically going to trade, but Albus is the one that picks up the kill there. The TP advantage finally being used, but Mountain's coming in. He's going to aggress onto Dreamer. They don't really have any damage just between Fiesta and Dreamer, and the teleport for Ziv is going to be up very soon. They've got to be really careful here. That's a huge ultimate from Mountain, and he's just going to absolutely shred the both of them. The flash forward into the flail, and this has just gone so horribly wrong for Machi. So they've really wanted to use the TP advantage while they had it, and they just didn't have the damage, especially against the Sejuani with a Bami Cinder already. She's going to be just doing burn damage for you the entire thing. Let's see what happened in this top lane for them to show a replay of it. So Bobo gets ignited, but oh, does he get a solo kill? Oh, that's not good. It was just auto attacks as well. That was just bad positioning from Ziv there. Okay, so we'll put that down to a little mistake. Messed up a little bit. Looks like Machi are going to be the ones to aggress onto this dragon, but Mountain going to be coming in. Doesn't actually have ultimate, which is going to really hinder their ability to fight here, and obviously Kalista incredibly good at taking objectives. This is probably, yep, that just goes over to Machi without any fight whatsoever. But Bobo hitting Meganar soon. He wants to fight. He really wants to fight. The teleport, the Bard ultimate misses. Republic gonna pull away from that. Q, a huge gnaw as the fight finally breaks out. Ziv goes down pretty much instantly, but a huge rupture from Westor. He gets them all so low. Fiesta going in. Dreamer being taken down there in the backline, and Mountain doing so much damage with a triple kill already. Republic, is that a quadra kill? No, not yet, but he does get it. He finally gets the quadra kill. There's no way this could be a pentakill. Is he coming in? Mountain gets the slowdown. The pool's going to be up soon, but the Flail of the Northern Winds is going, and it's going to be a pentakill for Mountain on Sejuani. Really great play there. But such a lot of damage coming in from Westor to allow Mountain to get that. I cannot believe that in my first game shoutcasting ever there was a pentakill. So a 7-0 to Mountain. Let's see what he gets on this back. Let's just take a look at these items. I want to see what he finishes. He's going to finish. He just bought a Warmog. He just straight up buys a Warmog. I think he had a Giant's Belt. Choosing not to finish the Cinder Hulk yet. But a Warmog's Sejuani, and this is not a high damage composition from Machi. Like, where is that? They are not going to be able to get through that. D is going to have to be attacking him for ages. He doesn't even have a BF item yet. No way he can get through it. And Republic, he just doesn't have the damage as a Vladimir to take down the tanks like Mountain. Unless he gets a really good Hemo Plague off, I can't see AHQ losing these fights. So will the Ancients finally finished onto Republic, but Westor going towards his first BF item. Looks like there's going to be a fight here, and gets caught out. Another gank from Fiesta, but the hyperkinetic position reverser is interrupted. The magical journey to get away. Fiesta's chasing him though. Will get the knock up at the shield. Looks like they're going to give it over to Republic. Get him going a little bit. He is 4-1-2 now, so maybe he will be able to start doing a decent amount of damage, but I just don't see how he's going to be able to shred through these front lines. And Mountain coming for the gank on Bobo. He gets knocked back by the Hecarim ult. Does get the double stun, but the Sejuani ult going to be used there. So lose a man in the bot lane, pick up one in the top. Looks like they're just going to be trading towers here. D going to make sure that Anne misses up as much CS as possible. Albus having to flash away there from the Flay. Westor has been Hemo Plagued. Looks like they want to set up a trap here. Republic gets hit by the Flail of the Northern Winds. He's already taken it to about half HP. He's trying to sustain through it, but just look at the damage Mountain is doing as a tank. Dreamer comes in with a lantern to get him out, and Westor survives. So this game picked up the pace very quickly. It was a bit of a dull laning phase with not much jungle pressure other than Fiesta onto bot lane. But suddenly this game's gotten a lot more interesting. 3k gold lead onto AHQ right now, but so much of that is in Mountain. Westor finishing the Ludens. His burst is going to be incredible about now. Republic finishing the Visage though. I think I agree with that item even on, okay, maybe not on more regular casters, but definitely on Volad. It's if you don't build MR versus a Cho'Gath, you have to be ridiculously good at dodging Rupture, because if you don't, he's just going to straight up kill you. Obviously the true damage won't be reduced by Spirit Visage, but Spirit Visage is a pretty standard second item already. Bobo looks like he's going to get caught out. Rupture misses, and the Ignite burnt from Westor as well as the ultimate. He really needed that Rupture to hit. As soon as that missed, he probably should have just backed off. But that's bottom tower for AHQ. Meanwhile, top tower I think went down for Machi. So they're effectively just trading objectives at this point. And speaking of objectives, Dragon gonna be up in about a minute. Mountain gonna try and clear some of the wards out. Is he gonna get it? I assume he got it. Cameraman not wanting to show it. So that's that's going to be a teleport coming in. The Bard catch onto D. He's just going to have to sit there until he gets hyperkinetic position reversed, and he's going to be taken out instantly. And a huge Sejuani ult catches all four members. They are just going to break down here. Fiesta getting knocked up by the Rupture. They're going to turn onto Bobo. They're going to chase him down. The Q will be up for Sejuani in a minute. Does flash away though. So with such a huge Sejuani ult, it looks like they're going to turn onto Baron here. Do they have the damage? Well, it looks like it. They're just going to go straight for it. And there is no way Machi can even try and contest this. D got taken out of that fight almost instantly. A really great ultimate from Albus into the hyperkinetic position reverser for Anne. And there's just I love that skill. It's so great. But that fight, a free Baron now for AHQ. And AHQ's objective control and their mid-game team fighting and decision making is really showing up here. Looks like Machi want to try and get this dragon, but it's going to be a risky one. Ziv not running smite, so they should be able to take this, and they do get it. That is third dragon, and Bobo is going to be able to jump out of the pit. Yep, but he's got to be careful. Republic pulls away from the rupture, otherwise he was going to be very dead. Mountain wanted to go in, just Arctic assaults over the wall to get that ward down. So, Machi clearly having their own victory conditions here away from AHQ's. Machi looking to get that 5 Dragon Dream, but with the map control that AHQ can gain from this Baron buff and the pushes that they're going to get off it, I don't think they're going to be giving up too many more dragons. And with something like a Sejuani, oh, the Dreamer getting ulted straight into them, Fate's Call being used. Fiesta, not much from anything of that barrel, and the hyperkinetic position is reversed around to D, into the rupture. He just gets blown up again, and that's going to happen every single fight. Ziv decided to go extremely hard in on them. Dreamer goes down, the Gnarl does manage to pick up Ziv, but doesn't really get anything else. Have they managed to repel the push? It looks like they have. Fiesta going in, gets the slow onto Anne, the stun comes down onto Albus, but he's just going to magical journey away. Bobo's going to follow him through. Is he going to get the slow? Just runs out of Mega Gnar. And a really good stun there from Albus. So, that's Baron buff taken off Ziv. Oh, Bobo has managed to find Mountain here. But this is a very large mountain. Is he going to manage to get there? No. Bobo manages to take him down. And that is a large chunk of gold for Bobo with that shutdown. 905 was Mountain before that kill came in. He's opting to go Frozen Mallet, and he just buys a Spectre's Cowl straight off that. D finally finishing up his Bloodthirster, but look at the itemization on AHQ side. That's 2 Frozen Hearts. Reducing the attack speed, obviously. It's just going to put such a huge hurt on D's possible damage output, but D doesn't really have any damage output if he just gets ulted at the start of every single team fight. This has been a consistent problem in the team fights, and just manages to get the ult onto D, and he just gets blown up because he can't survive in the middle of that team. Bobo having a struggle with the big Krug. Meanwhile, Ziv pushing in bot lane. He's got to be a little bit careful because there are quite a few Machi members positioned on the bot side. The Baron buff worn out already. And honestly, they didn't get much off it. Did they get anything off it, even? Fight in the mid lane stopped them getting the tower. Republic's going to get lanterned out so that he's not caught. Obviously still had his pool available. And there it is, to dodge out the rupture. Quite a good pick considering it wasn't a counter pick. And that's a Black Cleaver onto Urgot, the new Black Cleaver. So they're going for Armor Shred, but there isn't any armor to shred, so he's basically going to be doing true damage. And that's going to allow Ziv to do a lot of work if he goes in afterwards. I wasn't expecting to see the new Black Cleaver. Obviously good for Urgot because it gives him that CDR as well. He's got to be... I think he's on 40% around now. Going to be working towards Last Whisper next item, and any armor that Machi have is just going to get shredded through with a Last Whisper Black Cleaver. But they can't really afford to get armor right now when Westor is such a problem. Westor and Mountain, just because he's not building AP doesn't mean he isn't doing a ton of damage with that Flail of the Northern Winds and Cinderhulk combination. And doing a little dance for us in the mid lane. So Dragon up
对，
in
那这边的
about
话
a
就是
minute and a
而且
half.
乌尔加特
Baron
另
going to
外
be up in
一个
about 2
方式我们
minutes.
平常比较常
So we'll
看
see
的
if they
话
do
是会
any
让他上
tactical
明星的
trades
时
for some
间
of these
但是现
objectives,
在
because
黑
I
界
think
他
that's
就
when the
是
next
用
fights are going to be coming in.
20%的 CDR 我觉得黑界这边装备
I think we're
就
going to
是
be
应该说
just seeing a bit of a farm fest
CD 资产
until
太高你把黑界3000块钱
uh,
减掉一件
Drake for
2000
Machi. I
那
think
你
they're
就
going
是
to
几百块
really
钱
want
就
this
可以
Drake, because
买
that's
2造
clearly the
龙石
victory conditions
就
that
有
they've
点
set
像
out.
是说像以前就是
Is
你买
they're going for the 5 Drake
买
dream.
送一的那种感觉，对。
送你鸡蛋那种感
But
觉这样子
will it only be a dream?
就很奇怪
Is the question.
哦，那目前的话是 Machi 的一个中路集结哦。那在 AHQ 部分则是131
So
的一个
teleports
守
up
防
for
线。
both
那
top
中路这里
laners.
AHQ 应该是不太会被对方强势做一个开战。那小龙在40秒后就要重生了，Machi 应该就会现在利用回补的时间点，在下一波
We'll
团战
see
里面
how they're
拿到这样
used
小龙
in
之后来
the
进一波
upcoming
反击。
team
他
fights.
其实如果
Sorry
拿到小龙
about
的
that.
新手的话，他们一定要很注意，就是要把小龙给拉出龙池外哦。他们如果全部在龙池里面的话，我觉得太容易被巴的一个大绝
Ziv
定在里面哦。所以他们
shoving in bot lane.
自己的阵型给
Just
弄
going to
得
try and
散
get
开
that
一点。
lane pressure. It looks like top lane is going to push towards AHQ. D going for the QSS, which means he's delaying his last whisper even more. But he really needs that QSS, because Anne has ulted him every single fight. So it's a trade-off. He's not going to be doing as much damage, but he's actually going to be alive to do the damage. Now the Drake's up. Machi have positioned themselves around it. Ziv is waiting in base with his home guards. I think Machi are probably going to just go for the steal, maybe. We'll see if they try and 5v5. It's a very tanky mountain to try and deal with. There's the scrying orb to see it. The bard ult. Westor manages to take it. Uses his ult to just get that 1000 true damage down. D, you are not in a good position, my friend. Manages to flash away from Ziv, and the 3-man ultimate does get QSS'd away by D this time, so he's actually alive to try and deal some damage, but Dream has already gone down, and there is just so much damage coming in from AHQ. Anne is already onto the back line there. Bobo looks like he's going to be going down. Flash forward from Anne. He missed pretty much every skill shot he had there, but it didn't matter. A 4-for-1 for AHQ. And we've seen even, well, the gold lead is much worse now, but even when the gold lead was pretty similar, AHQ were just winning the team fights. They're going to turn onto the Baron. There is nothing Machi can do outside of a miraculous Fiesta Baron steal here. But let's see some of that fight again. So Ziv teleports into the backline, forces D's flash. Pretty good flash, to be honest, but there's a huge Sejuani ult. And at this point, there's just so much damage coming in from the tanks that when the carries finally arrive, Westor and Anne, they just get absolutely melted. Republic gets position reversed into the middle of the carries, which is usually where he wants to be, but he has no way out, no Zhonya's, no pool, which just leaves Anne and Ziv to just go straight for Fiesta and Bobo. A really, really well played, well thought out team fight for AHQ, and they get the Baron off of it, and you can only assume that they're going to be, it's only going to be a matter of minutes before their screens say victory. It's the second Baron of the game now. And Anne getting a BF sword. We'll see what that gets transformed into. I assume a Mercurial Scimitar. I assume. You never know. He might go mad, go for the Bloodthirster or the Infinity Edge. And I'm trying to think of ways that Machi could win this. At this point, they have to go for the 5 Dragon, but they don't have the greatest stall. Look at the wave clear. They're relying on Gragas barrels, which just aren't doing much damage with that tank build. Relying on Callista, who can't get safe wave clear down, and they're relying on Vlad, who has the same problems as Callista. There's just no real way for them to turtle this game out, and for them to consistently get Dragon's Mountain coming in. Misses the ultimate completely. Fiesta's just going to barrel them away, but it's enough for them to take the tower. That's going to extend their gold lead even further. Look at that. That's around a 13, 14k gold lead. And are they even going to be able to get this inhib tower? Anne's going to get very close to the wave, to the tower to do damage to it. That's going to be their downfall, if anything. So the last Whisper finally finished onto D. Maybe he could start doing some damage to these extremely tanky frontliners of Hecarim and Sejuani with a double frozen heart. Even with that last Whisper, a lot of that attack speed's gone because of this itemization. They're just going to face tank this tower. They do not care. And they don't have to care. This far in the lead. That's a bait that they are not going to take this time. Looks like they're all going to back off. They did manage to get 2 towers with that Baron buff. They're going to spend their excess gold, and look at Mountain. 10, 1, and 10. He has really shown up this game. And with the pentakill. It was extremely... It was a fun pentakill. And he got such a huge ult off in that fight as well. It was almost like he deserved it. So, Westor is rather large right now. Don't be deceived, he has gone full AP. And if he gets onto either Republic or D and just ignites them and ults them, like, I don't even think he has to hit many of his other skills. Feral Scream, ult, and ignite it would probably kill D. Maybe not Republic. I don't know. We'll have to see. Maybe he can prove me right or prove me wrong. Iron buff has worn out now. Dragon up in 1 minute. I think Machi might go for their last stand, because the only way they're going to win this game is through the 5 Drakes. Either I can't see AHQ making stupid mistakes like overextending for silly kills in the late game. So Machi pretty much have to contest this next Drake. Thing is, I don't think they can. They are so far behind in gold. 15,500 gold that AHQ have over Machi right now. And there's just nothing they can do other than get slowly choked out. Void Staff looks like it's going to be finished up onto Republic at some point. But this just lack of penetration items. I mean, D does have the last Whisper now. But it was so late because of that QSS, which inevitably didn't actually help them in the fight. Like, he QSS'd the Sejuani ultimate, and they still just got destroyed. No, they're not going to contest. Looks like they're going to push up mid, maybe try and get that tower. Or maybe they're going to try and go for a catch here. Albus. Not even afraid to face check. With that Bard. Worst comes to worst, he can just ult himself. You know, I always find how large Cho'Gath gets just completely ridiculous for an AP mid laner. You are basically a walking hitbox. But it doesn't matter if you get caught, because you have 3,500 hit points. Just want to point out, Mountain has been part of 20 of the 23 kills AHQ has had. And that basically comes down to the fact that AHQ didn't really do anything in the laning phase. They just farmed up and they played the team fights perfectly. All of their kills pretty much have come from the team fights. And Mountain has been such a huge deal in these team fights. His ultimates every single time has been striking multiple targets, and he's just been chasing them down and doing so much damage with that active W. And he's even gone haunting, guys, opting to get a bit of magic penetration, so he's doing even more damage in these team fights, and he can afford that because he's tanky enough. That haunting, guys, isn't going to he's not exactly hindering himself with that haunting, guys. He's surviving long enough to do the damage, so why not? And look how much health he has. Nearly 5,000 HP with Cinderhulk. Looks like Machi have managed to get the positioning advantage here though, but AHQ are fast closing in, and they just want to get the hell out of dodge. They don't want to be any part of what they're delivering. 5 seconds on the Baron, you can only assume that that's going to go AHQ's way without much of a fight. Republic's been spotted on that ward. But look at the bot wave is going to push in for Machi, so that's the one silver lining that they have right now, is that Ziv's going to have to go and push that out at some point, but he does have teleport, and I honestly think that AHQ could win 4v5s at this point. They are just so far ahead. Not going to go into the Baron just yet. Ziv is waiting in base with the home guards though, so expect to see him teleporting in soon. Oh, Dreamer actually going out to Westdoor, who flashes away instantly. Doesn't want to be any part of that. Dreamer getting chunked out by Anne. And there's the Ziv home guarding into the backline. D doing as much damage as he possibly can. Republic's been taken out. In the meantime, in the 4-man ultimate from Mountain once again, they just absolutely blow up. And that's going to be all she wrote. AHQ is just going to push through for the win. And Mountain has been absolutely incredible this entire game. Perfect ultimates in pretty much every team fight, except that one slip-up we saw at bot lane. Really, really clinical game from AHQ. Very well played and really good pick and ban draft phase. First game going to AHQ.